Hey there, I'm author Sarah A. Chrisman, and August 6th is National Root Beer Float Day. So, soda itself is actually older than humanity because soda itself really started with carbonated water that bubbles up out of rocks in various places on Earth. But as for ice cream soda, there is a famous story about the root beer float originating with Frank Wisner in 1893. But that's key. Here's your ice cream is right here. There you go. There you go. That's your ice cream. Keep it in the dish. Okay. There you go. Okay, so there's a famous story about the root beer float originating with Frank Wisner in 1893, but there are actually records of ice cream sodas going back to the 1850s to a gentleman named Eugene Roussel in Philadelphia. So ice cream sodas have actually been around quite a while, and by the 1890s, they were so popular. So to get an ice cream soda, you would have gone to a soda fountain in the back of a pharmacy. And this, it's a social thing. People go to bars to drink, they go to coffee shops to drink coffee. They would go to soda fountains to get sodas and ice cream sodas. Very social, very fun place to hang out. And by the 1890s, ice cream sodas were so popular that trade journals were actually telling soda fountains to try to discourage people from buying them because it takes so much longer to eat an ice cream soda than to drink a regular soda. And so the trade journals were telling all of these soda fountains, oh, they're taking up your counter space, and you'll have more customers if you just serve them regular soda, because they're wasting all your time with these ice cream sodas. But that suggestion didn't take off because people loved the ice cream sodas. And Psyche, you haven't finished your ice cream yet. Here you go. There's your ice cream. Stay on the table. Now, an 1897 article in another magazine called soda the national drink in America and said that it was as American as pie or watermelon, which is kind of fun. Back when I was in college, someone told me that only Americans like root beer. And I was kind of curious as to whether or not this was true. At the time, I was in the archery club at the University of Washington, and we had two coaches, one very, very English, one very, very Scottish. And so the next time we had our practice, I asked them, hey guys, someone told me that only Americans like root beer. Is this true? Now, Nick, the very, very English gentleman, this wrapper is not a toy. Anyhow, the Englishman, with a very debonair look, smiles and said, I like root beer. Angus, the red-haired surly Scot, shoots his arrow, then turns around and says, only Americans and freaks like root beer. So take that however way you want to. In the comments, feel free to state your nationality and say whether or not you like root beer, because it's a really fun debate. Now, as for drinking straws, the history of drinking straws goes back about 5,000 years to ancient Sumeria. And the nobles in Sumeria had jewelry quality straws, and there have been fancy straws around ever since. The first disposable straws were actually literally straw. They were, grass, empty tubes of grass that people would use to drink beverages out of. The first paper drinking straw goes back to 1888. And people have been enjoying this beverage ever since it was invented. So, happy National Root Beer Float Day. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a nice thumbs up and share it with your friends to encourage them to enjoy their own root beer floats. And especially remember to tell them about my books. Happy reading!